This is One Sentence News, a daily podcast featuring 3 news stories with a sentence-long summary and 1 sentence of context apiece. I'm Colin Wright. It's Thursday, January 20th, 2022. Let's talk about the news. From the Wall Street Journal, drug maker Gilead alleges counterfeiting ring sold its HIV drugs. Pharmaceutical company Gilead has announced following 2 years of investigation and court-approved civil seizures, it has discovered 85,247 counterfeit bottles of its HIV medications being sold to pharmacies as non-counterfeit, Gilead-branded medicine. Drug maker Johnson & Johnson announced last December that in at least 3 instances, bottles of its HIV drug were sold with the wrong tablets, and while the relative scale of that discovery is substantially different from that of this new investigation, the concern in both cases is that there's a black market for HIV medications that's allowing repackaged real pills and fake/alternative pills in branded bottles to make their way into the supply chain, which is why this is causing so much alarm within these companies, as it means they may have less control over their sales channels for both quality control and money-making purposes than they thought. From Reuters, Indonesia passes law to relocate capital to Borneo jungle. On Tuesday, Indonesia's parliament approved a bill that provides a legal framework for moving the country's capital from Jakarta to a new city called Nusantara, which will be built in a jungle-heavy region of Borneo Island called Kalimantan. Jakarta is a city of 10 million-ish people that has a lot of infrastructural issues. It's sinking, but it's also plagued by chronic traffic congestion and air pollution caused by that traffic and emissions from coal-fired power plants. And while this isn't a straightforward, easy, or uncontroversial move, it's also not unheard of. Egypt began moving into its new purpose-built capital city late last year, after having decided in 2015 to move the government out of Cairo, which has many of the same infrastructural and systemic issues as Jakarta. And from the Associated Press, airlines cancel some flights after reduced 5G rollout in U.S. Telecom providers AT&T and Verizon have agreed to slow the rollout of some new 5G internet infrastructure after airlines publicly raised long-simmering concerns that these new cell towers could interfere with some cockpit instruments. More specifically, 5G, which offers higher speeds to devices capable of using it, straddles part of the radio spectrum used by a few tools, like altimeters used by some aircraft in some conditions, like when visibility is low. These telecom companies argued it would be fine, as there's no evidence of 5G networks interfering with such tools in the 40-ish countries in which they've already deployed these networks. But airlines called on the government to help them out and suggested the deployment of this wireless spectrum would necessitate new restrictions that could reduce the number of available passenger and cargo flights each day. Telecoms have given in to some degree, turning on about 90% of their towers, but reducing their deployment near 50 key airports for 6 months. But some airlines have canceled flights, ostensibly out of an abundance of caution, regardless. If you're finding some value in One Sentence News, consider leaving a quick review wherever you get your podcasts and/or sharing the show with a friend. You can find out more about this show or subscribe to the email version at onesentencenews.com, and you can support this and other related projects, like the Let's Know Things and Brain Lenses podcasts at understandery.com.